You are now listening to the highlight reel builder for authors, the Going North podcast. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer and author of the best-selling book, Stay the Course, Dom Reitman. And you're going to be getting some goodies today from the guest that's up next. And today on the highlight reel builder for authors known as the Going North podcast, you got another super special, awesome human for you today, because in the words of one of my favorite video game characters of all time, Big Smoke, it's time to return the favor, baby, because the host special, baby. That's right, fellow podcast hosts. And what makes it even better and not better is that we don't have no ordinary podcast host. This guy is a host of 2 podcasts. You heard that right, folks. 2 podcasts, and one of them's a daily show. Of course, the illustrious daily self-publishing podcast, which yours truly has been able to grace his presence on, as well as a servant PT podcast as well. And his mission is to help healthcare providers self-publish books so that they can be seen as the authority. That's right, the authority, and serve their audience better. And this wonderful gentleman right here writes about self-publishing healthcare as well as devotionals. So let's give it up for our fellow Christian, best-selling author, and all-around good guy with all the O's indeed. More O's than alphabet soup, Cheerios, and freaking Oreos combined. Jeremy Sutton. How you doing today, Jeremy?
Hey, what's up, Dom? I'm glad to be here, man.
Hey, brother, what's going on? I'm just trying to be like you, man. You doing all right?
Yeah, he was joking that we're probably out to cut half of this because we're both silly.
Oh, my Lord. Yep.
That's right. We both publish books. We both have podcasts. We both love the Lord, and we both love having a good old time, baby. That's right. That's right.
I think we might need to just co-host a podcast. We can merge yours and mine, and yeah, man, we could just, I don't know if we get any interviews done, but it'd be fun.
We probably would be like, the guests be like, hey, you know I'm here, right? Yeah, we know you're here. So back to that penguin story.
That's right. For sure, man.
Oh my goodness. Well, as with all introductions, you know, they're not allowed to be 7 days long, and I probably forgot a whole bunch of stuff because I forgot to mention that since you're in healthcare, that means you're one of the heroes that worked during the evil CV-19.
I did, and looks like we're surging back up, so I'm going to be working through it again, so I'm not looking forward to that. I'll take a little vacation this coming up week and refresh and regroup and come on back.
That, man. Amen to that, man. So what got you into healthcare, my man? Did you grow up wanting to be a hero in the healthcare field, or did someone drop kick and you're like, oh man, I'm injured, let me go be a healthcare worker so I can heal my injury?
Pretty much. This is exactly what happened. I pulled of all muscles my groin. Now I know it was a sartorius muscle, but I didn't know that then and didn't care. But went to physical therapy and just kind of fell in love with it. And yeah, man, I've been doing since I was 19. I'll be 40 this year. So almost 21 years I've been involved in physical therapy in some way or fashion. And had my own business, and I wrote a book about neck pain, and or I take that back. I built an online course about neck pain that I couldn't sell it. I couldn't sell a match to an Eskimo, Dom. And so then I wrote this book about neck pain, and then I learned how to sell things too. So that helped. But yeah, man, I wrote the book and, just kind of started geeking out on all this self-publishing stuff and started helping other people. And now we've helped about, 85 people publish books in the last 2.5 years. So it's pretty exciting. I love it, man.
Yeah, that's right. Senior citizen status, baby. 85 authors, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That's right. That's right, folks. He's turning 40 this year, so that means 40 more authors coming his way, y'all. I'm telling you.
That's right. We're trying to get at least about 9,000 more. So let's go. Not before I'm 40, though.
I'm like, God dang, you're probably going to need like freaking 50 hours a day if that ever happens.
At least 50 hours a day. Whew.
Oh man. Well, happy early 40th birthday, my man. It's gonna be super special, awesome. Probably gonna be the biggest year yet for you. I'm speaking it to existence for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. My goodness. And you mentioned how you didn't learn how to sell, and that's probably one of the major skills that like folks forget when it comes to really authorship. A lot of folks focus on the writing, they don't even focus on the selling or the marketing. So, and heck, even with that course too. So, what was probably the biggest, say, heck, maybe even the three biggest lessons you learned from actually learning how to sell things properly to the right customer?
Oh man, that's number one is the right customer. I think the first person that bought my course was my wife's cousin, and I didn't even have PayPal set up right, so it was $47 course, and she paid $44, so I didn't even sell it for whole price, man. So that was horrible. But I think number one is just picking the right person. Number two is believing in what you're selling, because if you don't believe in it, then you shouldn't be selling it. And there's probably a reason why you don't believe in it if you don't. So just kind of really dig deep into that. And I would say number three is just, you don't have to be sleazy. You just have to build relationships with people. And that's the thing that kept me from selling so much, Dom, was I didn't want to be sleazy. I didn't want to be a salesman. But we're building relationships. If you pick the right customer, you believe in what you're selling, and you build relationships with people, it just makes it a whole lot easier, and it's more natural. So I think that'd be the top three things I've learned personally about selling.
Oh man, my man got a Phil Jackson triangle offense going with that one, baby. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. That's right. That's right indeed. You don't have to be sleazy, just build relationships. That's right. You have to find people and chloroform them and have them lean on pens. You don't have to do that. You just build relationships.
Dude, I've had that sales tactic used on me. I think that's straight. That's the formula right there. Chloroform and pens, man, for sure.
That's right. Just lean on the pen, man. You'll be fine. Like, what? Like, don't even read it. Like, okay, now it's getting even worse. Like, don't even think about it. Like, oh, this is getting progressively worse. Don't worry. It's totally a lot of lemon. It's an orange. Wait, what's an orange? Just lean on the pen. It'll make sense.
There you go. There you go. I mean, it's funny, we joke about stuff like that, but in the day, you've interviewed a ton of people and authors and more people than I have. And I think I'm up to about 70 interviews so far in the last few months on mine. But, you can tell somebody who has a servant's heart first. And that's a big thing for me. But then you can also, now you can really point those out that are going to be like, hey, we're going to give you the first 5 steps for free. But step number 6, it's going to be $9.97. And guess what? We got financing if you can't afford it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can say that again, man. It's so darn true. It's kind of funny how that pseudoscience is actually legit, to be honest. When you think back at it, because it's like, you know what? If the person's good, they have great content out there, and it's like, well, you know what? Fudge it. I'll just go ahead and invest it. And one or two things happen. You'll either like it and do it. Well, actually, multiple things can happen. Either you like it and actually take something from it and do something with it, or you just buy it and do nothing with it, especially the free content, or you buy it and you find the person you cuss them out or something, which I don't do. And I don't advocate other people doing it either.
Yeah, man. It's funny. I've bought so many courses in the last few years. I feel like I might have even gotten addicted to them at one point, just buying, I just need this knowledge and this. And really, if you don't have to find so many courses, you really just find one mentor or something and just follow that and do whatever. If they have a proven record, if their course or they have a proven record, and just follow that, and you'll find success. And it may not be that you turn into a millionaire, you make $100,000 a month or whatever, but you can duplicate or replicate their success if you just be consistent with it. And I think that's been my biggest issue, and I think is the biggest issue of authors and healthcare professionals and podcasters and whoever. It's just not being consistent along one path until you find success.
Oh yeah, man, you can definitely say that again, because heck, life gets in the way sometimes for a lot of folks when it comes to the consistency issue, man. Like especially with healthcare professionals with the crazy schedules that y'all work, and I can imagine they're like, like metaphorically, there's probably weed on there. They're probably so high in hours out of the freaking week where it's like, oh man, I feel like I'm working 90 hours every 2 days and there's only 10 hours a week. So what do you think helps you to stay consistent, especially now with all these podcasts and all these books that you published in the 85 and more to come, clients that you've helped?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's funny. I'm writing. I need to get 4 books published by September the 1st because I have a pretty big opportunity in October to white label some things. So I'm really working on that. But I started actually, Dom, about 4. I think this is my 5th week getting up at 5 a.m. I typically get up about 6:45 or 7. So I'm getting up at 5 and I'm tracking my writing. So I have a form that I got from chrisfoxwrites.com, I think is the website. And it's a word tracker, word per hour tracker is what he has. It's a Google form. And I just type in my time I start, how many minutes and the words, and it calculates. So it tracks everything. And that's been huge for me. It's just tracking what I'm doing, because now I can see I've written 46,000 words in the last 5 weeks. And that's not all written. Some of it's been dictated and converting videos. So that's one huge thing, is I've been getting up early and making time for what is important to me, put it on my schedule. If it's not important, I heard somebody say, if it's on your schedule, it's important. If it's not on your schedule, it's not important. The next thing is, it's just being consistent with the podcast. So now I'm recording a podcast every single day at 12 p.m. Central. And I have it on Calendly. I let people sign up and I do it. I don't feel like doing a podcast every day, Dom. I'm sure you can appreciate that. But I schedule them, and unless it's something with my family or whatever, I don't cancel them. I just go ahead and knock them out. And so I think that's a big thing. And then the third thing for me, which has been the absolute biggest thing, because I've never done this with any other podcast I've had, is having someone to edit and post every podcast. So once you and I finished our podcast a few weeks ago, I never touched it again. My VA fixed it and published it, and I just share it on Facebook the next day. So that's been the biggest thing, because this is the 4th podcast I've had. My first one, I think I got to about 130 episodes, and I can't remember the next 2. But anyway, this is the first time where I've had somebody full-time helping me, and it's huge. That's a game changer right there.
Yeah, you can say that again, man. My goodness, especially with the daily self-publishing podcast. It's like every freaking day, and it's like if you miss a day, you're gonna be hating yourself. Like, dang it, no, I've lied to the humans. No,
that's right. It's funny because I was asking. I was in this mentoring group. There was about 25 of us, and I said, "Hey, what do you think about the daily self-publishing podcast title?" And somebody actually said, Dom, I think you should just call it the self-publishing. So if you miss a day, it won't be a big deal. And I said, no, I'm going to do it every single day. I'm not changing the name. And I remember thinking, this is kind of stupid. So I'm probably going to miss a day. but yeah, we're going on. I think today was day number 80 or episode number 80. So, here we go. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to miss a day. I'm saying it right now.
There you go. Go get him, man. Because right now, at the time of this record, you're booked till October with guests, right?
I am booked till October. I have, what's today? August the 2nd. We're recording this. And so I have 41 podcasts between now and October. And that's with taking a week off. So it's a lot.
Oh, yeah, man. Like cranking it out like that. The thing is, the magic is going to be happening for you with it. Because funny enough, John Lee Dumas, a guest on your show, and probably one of my podcasting role models, like he did the same thing. And heck, even in his last book, I think it was The Uncommon or The Common Path to Uncommon Success, like he mentioned that whole journey and how like the first year, like he really put himself to the grindstone. He made sure he never missed a day, and you're doing the same thing. So a year from today, you probably won't even recognize the Jeremy of 2022. You'd be like, oh, the Jeremy last year, man, he was a punk compared to now. I'm in my 40s now. I'm like in the new decade, baby. I hope
he has hair,
abs
man.
coming.
I hope he has hair. I don't think he's going to, because I'm not paying for any hair. But you know what? It's funny. You mentioned it. I got to interview JLD last year. And my sister's my VA. She's been a teacher for 10 years. She's got 34 or 5 degrees. I don't know how many degrees she has, but anyway, she's like, I don't want to teach. I'm gonna do online business. And she was like, who do you want to get on your podcast? I was like, John Lee Dumas, Chandler Bolt, Dave Chesson, all these people. And I got John Lee, and I remember like just being a fanboy. That's never happened to me in my life, never. And so we get on, and I'm just like, hey, how you doing? And I said, hey, JLD, I got one question for you. And then I just want to let you talk. And he's like, we're not going to do that. We're going to have a conversation. And I was like, yes, sir. And we did. And it's funny, like, I'll have to send you the video because after I stopped recording, I was just like, ah! You know, it's so crazy. Like, how weird am I that I want to talk to another podcaster and think that's the greatest thing ever? But it was. But you know what? I want to tell your audience something, Thomas. He told me that, you know, I knew his story. I'd listened to his podcast, several, you know, 100 episodes, and he said, hey, just do a daily podcast. I was like, I want to do one, but I don't know. And then I was listening to Chandler Bolt's podcast, Self-Publishing School, about a month or two later, and he had a guest on there that said the same thing. Hey, you need to, when you write your book, you need to promote your book 2, 3, 4, 5 years, the rest of your life, and you do as many podcasts. And I was like, all right, that's 2 people. God's telling me something. I'm going to start this. And, you know, I've had a couple of really big opportunities come my way since I've started it. And, you know, it's funny. People think things happen overnight, but, you know, I've been working on books since 2019, and, you know, we'll see. It's, you know, it's getting towards the end of 2021 now, which is kind of, or I guess the middle of 2021 towards the end of it. And, you know, we'll see where we are next year. I have a feeling it's going to be great. And that's what I'm clinging to.
Amen to that. Amen to that, man. It's good that you actually stuck with that, and your VA was able to help you basically make that dream come true. It's like, hey, you just basically said what you wanted. You're like, hey, I want Lee Dumas on the show, and it freaking happened. You recorded the interview, and it was a great conversation, and like, hey, it's really good stuff. And heck, even backtracking to something powerful that you said earlier, like you're on week 5 of waking up every day at 5 a.m. So have you been reading the 5 a.m. Club? Is that what inspired you? Was it the Miracle Morning or something that inspired?
No, man. It's so Chris Fox is an author, and he writes nonfiction and fiction, and so he has a series of 8 books on. You know, I'm always trying to learn something else about writing, and so I was reading this book. It's called 6-Figure Author by Chris Fox, and he talked about how to become a 6-figure author, how to work the algorithms on Amazon. And then I saw that he had 7 more books. And so, you know, my wife was getting on to me because I was spending $20, $25, $50 a week buying these books. And she said, look, you got an iPhone, read those books on your iPhone. So I did that for about 3 weeks. And I said, no, sir. So I bought me a 10-inch Kindle, but I ordered every one of his books. And so there's 5,000 words per hour. There's writing to market. And so in 5,000 words per hour, he talked about writing a daily routine. And he talked about how he started getting up about 30 minutes early every day, and then 45, then an hour. And, you know, he said, if you want to become a writer, you have to write. And I'm thinking, I'm teaching all these people to write and saying, you need to write your book. And I'm over here at, you know, 9 o'clock watching Netflix with my wife. And so I still watch Netflix with my wife at night, but now I go to bed by 10 every night, and I'm up. This is my 5th week, and I've missed probably 3 or 4 days of getting up. And I tell you what, Dom, I don't feel good when I don't get up now at 5. And I've been running a little bit as well. I run about 2 days a week, and I'm trying to eat a little healthier. I actually want to do a half marathon for my 40th birthday. So I'm working on that a little bit. That's not going so great, but the writing's going amazing because I'm old and fat and my knees hurt. But you know, man, that book inspired me, and he talked about how it changed his life physically. He got in better shape, and he started writing and then exercising. And then also he was able to pump out like 8 or 10, you know, books in a year, and sci-fi. And so, I mean, it just was an inspiring thing. It was almost a wake-up call too. It was like when JLD called me, I was like, hey, do it. And I was like, you know what? Why have I not done this? And so I've written, I've got one book. It's called, my first book was Neck Pain Solutions, about neck pain because I'm a PT. This one's called Back Pain Solutions. And I'll finish it probably in the morning, and then I'll just have to take the pictures and put it in there. But I was actually working on a self-publishing for healthcare providers book that I was going to try to publish, you know, late into this year. But this opportunity came up where I need to write these other books. And the guy was like, hey, can you write 5 books in 2 months? I said, I could write 50 books in 2 months if I need to. You know, it's just, if that's when the opportunity is, I got to do it. So that's what we're doing, man.
All right. Well, I'm interested to see if this opportunity is when time comes, because it's like, oh, wow. So 5 more books. I guess it's one of those things where it's like, oh, you got to be an author, 10 books to get in this program or something.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's a conference that he's going to in October, and there's 1,000 healthcare providers there. And so I told him on his podcast, so what I want to do is I want to write these books, a series of 5 or 6 of them, neck, back, hip, knee, ankle, shoulder pain, and then offer this to other healthcare providers to white label. So they take my cover off, they slap their cover on, put an about the author page in there, and then they have this to sell at their clinics or offices or whatever, or educate their patients. Wow. And I was telling him about that, and he said, "Hey, I'd love to have a conversation about this." So we met a week later, had another Zoom call, and he said, "Hey, I have this opportunity. I'm speaking in front of 1,000 healthcare providers. I'd like to pitch this to them. What do you think? Can you have the books done?" I said, "Absolutely, I can have the books done." So, I mean, that's how it is. Sometimes opportunity knocks when you're not quite ready, and then you say, "Okay, let's do it." I mean, I know that's happened to you before, I'm sure. You just got to do it sometimes. We grown-ups.
Amen to that, dude. You're so right about that. And it's like, hey, you got to catch that fire while it's on. You got to really strike. It's like, because the thing is, you really got to start before you're ready. Like, that's so powerful right there. And the thing is, now that you're going to be in your 40s, like your second win is going to be coming. Because I noticed a lot of folks in their 40s, like a lot of guys, they get a lot extra serious, like not only reading it and thinking Grow Rich, but actually seeing it in real life with a lot of like men, especially. It's what we really need now more than ever. Like, nothing against the ladies are kicking butt, but just seeing men out there really just doing their thing, especially in their 40s, being an example to the younger folks like myself who'll find out if I'll be 30 this fall. And it's like, wow, like something to look forward to and great role models to look up to of elite performance, and just really making sure and letting folks know, like, hey, 40 is not old. 30 is far from old, no matter what the crazy idiots that are like 25-year-olds say.
That's right.
Like, hey, there's plenty of life left to live here, and you're doing it, man. So I congratulate you, man. I'm looking forward to those 5 books being completed, man.
Me too. I'm so ready for them to be done. Oh my gosh. It's funny. I told my dad, and my dad's one of my very best friends, my wife and my dad, and of course I have amazing parents and a sister. But I told my dad, I said, I wish I would have liked learning. Wish I would have loved learning when I was in my 20s, because now I love it. I crave learning. I want to learn something every day. I want to listen to a podcast or come talk to someone like you, where I'm learning right now while you're doing this interview, and things like that. Because I feel like if I would have had this mindset when I was 20, I don't know where I would be. And I know, obviously you and I are both Christians, and we know God has a plan for our lives, and I 100% believe that. So I try not to overthink it, where would I be now? But I just love learning, and I hope that never goes away. And I think I'm right at 22 books for the year, which is, I really wanted to be closer to 40 books by this time, but we're not going to stress over that. But, I probably have never read 20 books a year in my life. I guarantee you I've never read 20 books in one year in my life. So, here we go. Let's see what happens.
Hey, that's freaking awesome, man. It's like, hey, I may not have read 20 books. I sure as heck wrote 20 plus books in a year. It's like, that's definitely a feat. And that's one great way of a mindset shift right there, because a lot of folks are like, oh, it's great to read books. I'm all for reading books. But to say that you've actually written and published like 22 books in a year, like, you know how many folks wish they just have one book published?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to clear it up, because I don't want to be I want to be transparent. I haven't written 20 books in a row. I've written 7 myself, and I've helped 85 other people write them. So, but I want to write 20 books in a year. I think I can. I think you can. I think anybody can. We just have to put our mind to it. I think, we've already talked about this, Don, being consistent, but also not holding yourself back, knowing that you can accomplish things, and not listening to people that sometimes it may be your parents or your spouse or your kids or your family or friends or coworkers or whatever. They say, oh, you can't do that. They don't know. How do they know? They ain't done it. It don't mean you can't do it. Do it.
Amen to that, man. Amen to that. Well, speaking of not holding yourself back, I always like to give fellow Christians the opportunity to talk about their faith. So, are you able to come to know Christ and stay strong with your faith till this day, my man?
Yeah, so I grew up in a Christian home, thankfully, and my grandfather was one of the most godly men I've ever met. He was a preacher, he was a Sunday school teacher. He was just one of those guys, you go to him and hey, how many teeth did the whale have that swallowed Jonah? 75. He would know. I don't know how many teeth was, but he just knew that kind of stuff. And I would be like, how do you know that? He's like, because I read the Bible. I'm like, oh, okay. I probably should read the Bible. But, I'll be honest with you, I struggled as a high schooler and as college age, really, really struggled, had a bad temper, bad attitude, struggled huge with depression when I was in physical therapy school, to the point of almost, to being suicidal. And I live in the South. We've all got guns. That's like another appendage to people in the South. And it got to a point where I remember I was driving around with a pistol, and I would cock it and pull the trigger just to see what it felt like. And thankfully, that was before I was married. And then my wife and we got married, and she really saved my life. I've told her this a million times. There was a point in our life where I said, hey, just need to leave. I'm going to just end this. I'm going to shoot myself. And she was like, no, I'm not doing that. And I started getting some counseling, and then really struggled some more, to not make this super long story much longer. But there was a point where my temper and attitude got the best of me, and kind of lost it, and yelled at my wife. Our little girl was probably 3 or 4 months old, and she was like, you got to get out. I'm not going to raise my daughter like this. And thankfully so, she said that. And I remember going to a friend's house, and he said, Jeremy, this is one of those friends that everybody needs. It doesn't lie to you no matter what, just tells you the truth, even if you're crying, like puts this foot on your throat and says, you need to hear this. So, I have one of those amazing friends. And he said, if you don't get your life right now with Christ, then you're just an idiot. And I remember sitting in my truck that night, and I was like, yeah, I agree. God, I'm an idiot. Please, thank you for not killing me the 50,000 times I begged you to end my life. And, I want to act right. And so I did. I turned my life around completely. And, I've definitely struggled since then. We all do. But, it's that faith that's kept me going. And we had to file bankruptcy. We've been sued twice. And in I think 2018, we bought a business that really wasn't what we thought it was. And there were some fraudulent things. So we weren't willing to be fraudulent. And so we ended up losing that business, filing bankruptcy. We got sued by the former owner. We got sued by the bank, and really just went through some crazy stuff. And it was just faith and my wife that got us through that. So I wish I could say I was a lot better of a person than I am, but I'm just a guy trying to make it through and do the best I can. And if it wasn't for that, honestly, I don't see what people do that don't have faith. And I'm not trying to offend anybody, because I know we all certainly have different beliefs. But to me, if there's not my faith in God and in Christ, then I don't know what I would do. I think I would just sit over here and beat my head up against the wall all day.
Hey, well, I'm glad you're still here, and I'm glad you shared that powerful story. And it just shows the importance of really being around the right people and having the right relationships in your life, because you're finding your lovely wife and her basically helping you get on the right path, and that good friend to put his foot on your neck, metaphor to speak, like, hey, get your life right, buddy. Stop being stupid.
Yeah. Sometimes it was literally speaking. So, but mostly metaphorically. Thankfully.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. Definitely got to have that in your life. So since this is far from your first rodeo on the guest side of the game, is there a question that you wish you be asked more often?
That I wish I could be asked more often?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's my favorite ice cream? Bluebell Dutch chocolate. I don't have anything smart to say. That's a good question, though. No, honestly, Dom, just I think what's the most important thing to me is a good question, and that's my legacy with my children, and that's not a professional legacy. It's that that I hope every night that, and I don't know, this may sound weird to people, but like I hope that both my kids, they're asleep next to me in the next room, grow up to be warriors for Christ and way better than what I am. I think we all want that for our kids to be better. I think that's cliche than we are, but just to know that their dad loved them and he did the best he could and led them down that road to be able to make that decision on their own. And so I think that's really my biggest thing. And I don't know if I want people to ask me that. I guess I do, because I really think that gets to the heart of who we are, and where I think we all have a purpose in life, and there's a professional purpose and a spiritual purpose, and that can all align. And mine is to see my kids, go to the kingdom and know what's going on.
Hey, that's a good thing right there. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Being a warrior for Christ, being warriors for Christ. That's what I'm talking about. That's right. Taking dad's magical baton and running even faster and further with it.
That's right. I'm gonna stump somebody with that question tomorrow. I'm writing that down.
Hey, you had a good reaction for the first time. I was like, man, what's my favorite type of ice cream? It must be the blue shirt.
That's right. That's right. Get some Bluebell over here, stat.
There you go. Another question you probably ask him after that one is, which flavor of ice cream would you be?
Chocolate. I want to be chocolate. Oh man.
Yes, indeed. Well, out of respectfulness for my man's bedtime of doing this in the evening, we're going to come down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive. And that is, if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but this time in the year of 2021, with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
Listen to your wife. That's in case she's listening. No, honestly though, Dom, I think it would be follow your gut or your spirit, whatever you believe it is because if something feels wrong and it doesn't really add up, then it doesn't add up. And I think that would be something that I wish that I would have listened to previously in our other business. Was I felt like things were probably not going the best way, but it was a friend of ours. And so I was like, nah, I would just ignore some of those feelings. And so listen to your gut. I think that's the best thing you have is if something doesn't feel right, if you're standing outside in an alley and you feel like you need to run, freaking run. Like it's, that may be that's it's there for a reason. We all have that inner voice inside of us that'll guide us. And, I'm not going to say listen to your heart, but I am going to say listen to that voice, because sometimes that's your best friend and your best bet.
Yeah. There we go. Rock solid advice indeed, y'all. I'm telling you, if y'all ain't got a tennis brace to the wisdom from this episode, something wrong, y'all. I'm telling you, man, especially when it involves the ice cream, y'all. Bluebell ice cream, I'm telling you. Good stuff.
Dutch chocolate. Don't get no milk chocolate. Dutch.
That's right. The real good thick stuff, baby. That's right.
That's right, baby.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Cocoa bean goodness. That's right.
Good night. We going off the rails, baby.
Yeah, that's the usual for this show, but hey, it's all good. We didn't even get to the tree joke, so it's okay. We're still on the rails. That's right. Yeah. So for those who want to keep in contact with the mighty J himself, the good doctor of self-publishing, Jeremy, what's the best way, folks, to reach out to you and keep it what you're doing?
Yeah, you go to bookbosspublishing.com, get my free course at bookbosspublishing.com/course, and then find me on Facebook. That's where I spend most of my social media time and a little bit on LinkedIn. But reach out to me, send me a message. If you wrote a book, want to write a book, if you wrote a book, I'd love to talk to you about it. I need about 300 more people, so come on.
This is Sparta, y'all. He needs 300 people, y'all. I'm telling you.
That's right. This is Sparta.
Oh, man. Well, there you have it, folks. Reach out to Jeremy. Head off to the magical Facebooks if you still survive the nonsense going on over there. Reach out to him. Keep it what he's doing. Check out his podcast, Daily Self-Publishing Podcast. Indeed, for that good stuff, indeed. So he's got some offs listening to this one, too, indeed, because it's good stuff. It's good with all the O's, y'all. That's right. You'll be saying Cheerio for like 17 days, y'all. That's how good it is, y'all. That's right, indeed. So any parting words before we close up shop?
Dom, just thank you so much for letting me be on your podcast with all your amazing guests. I appreciate it. And if I can do anything for you or any of your listeners, please, please, please reach out to me, because I do want to serve.
How's it going, my friend? I'm so glad you made it to the end. That shows that you are an uncommon finisher, and I am so grateful for you sharing your ears, your attention, and your time to this wonderful podcast to do something that'll take yourself to the next level. And for everybody else involved in this wonderful program, share it with at least 3 people in your network so that way more folks can not only catch the fire that is on this podcast, but can also be inspired to be their best. Advance others to advance yourself.